Are you ready, Bella, to go to Braley's tour on the airport?
Yeah!
You got the ticket?
Yeah!
I've never been to Dubai. I just can't wait. Can you?
Yeah!
Let's go! At the time on the card. We have to be there now. Come on, Bella. We have to run there. Let's go! Bella, we need to the airport so we can fly to Dubai and see Braley's tour. I can't wait. Can you?
Yeah.
Let's go and get on that plane. Bye.
Oh!
Thank you for allowing me to be here.
I would like to welcome you all to our virtual literacy event.
Good morning, everyone.
I'm Michelle Hardy, the Giving Guru.
Greetings to all the students.
Thank you for having me. I am so delighted to be with you all today to share my love of fitness.
Hi, Dr. Houston. Thank you so much.
Hi, Tori.
Hi, Dr. Houston.
So different. But I stayed brave and I showed kindness to all even when they weren't kind to me.
And they always come equipped with a smile and grace for when you enter the place.
He hugged Hannah. He started to cry. 2 tears burst from his eyes and in.
All right, let's
Ask your parents for choices. All parents provide choices for you.
Means so much to me and my daughter Bria, and probably also for other parents like children of like Hannah.
Tammy, wasn't this a great event?
Oh, it was incredible. And
Good evening, everyone. I am Dr. Shika Houston of Create and Educate, co-host of The Collaborative, and today I am bringing you the Collaborative Storytime Edition. Normally, our collaborative shows have featured guests and we end with story time. As we stated last week, or on October the 5th, which was our relaunch date, we have a new setup. So the first Tuesdays of the month will always be featured guests with us and story time at the end. But the following Tuesdays will always be story time. Before we get to story time, I wanted to make sure that you all are familiar with the things on our website that may be able to help educators, parents, and community members as it relates to literacy. One of the things that we have here, this is our featured catalog where we feature several of the authors that we have and will feature for story time, but there's information in the catalog about their books, how to contact them. You can contact them for virtual authors visits, and also you can purchase their books from inside of the catalog. And at the end of the catalog, there are several free resources for you, other Storytime partners, Reading with Cara Lee, Reading with Mr. Lamata, as well as Reading with Miss Pat. There's other free resources here, so make sure you go to the website and look at the catalog. Also, when you visit the website, make sure you follow us on all of our platforms here. We have a Spreaker account, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, as well as Instagram. So the last two things that I would like to share with you are our virtual literacy events. This one is Braley's Tour, and our author here, Latoya Lewis, is teaching in Dubai. She and her character, Braley, take us on a wonderful tour of Dubai. It is very exciting. So make sure you visit the website, fill out the form here, and you get the recording immediately. There's a little trailer that you saw at the beginning as well. And there's a free event catalog and even a boarding pass. So educators, you can use this in your classroom with students as a reward. It could be a hook for a lesson. It could be used for a variety of things. Parents, you could use this at home for birthday parties, incentives, or awards. So just make sure you check out Braley's Tour, something fun for the family to do. And the last event is Hannah's Wish. This event can be used to cultivate empathy with your students. And we have several marvelous ladies featured: Michelle Hardy, Tiffany Williams, Coach Toya, the author Alex Penn, and the very motivational Marlina Valentine, along with physician's assistant Tori Carter and her daughter. So check out Hannah's Wish. It is a great event as well. There's a trailer here, and you can access the event. And this is where it was used as a school-wide event in place of the students being able to attend what they normally would attend for Special Olympics. So I hope that you enjoy story time. Remember, every time we end our segment, we always say that there is no such thing as a child that hates to read. There are only children who have not found the right book. We hope that our storytime segments help you explore new reading and new books for children and help you to find things to put into your children's hands or your students' hands to be able to cultivate that love for reading. Reading just 20 minutes per night could change the trajectory of a child's reading abilities. So please make sure we're cultivating that and modeling that for them, but also making sure that we're providing them with things that they really love and see themselves in the books as well. So our catalog is something that could be used for that. We hope that you get lots of great ideas. So I'm going to turn it over now for story time. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Elliott, author of I Am a King. A million thanks to Dr. Sheikha and Principal Tammy for the opportunity to read for story time. I Am a King was born during lockdown when we were in the height of the pandemic. The pandemic exposed a lot of ugliness that I remember speaking to my 5-year-old about 20 years ago. I cringed at the thought of how many young African-American youth were feeling hurt and afraid. I had to do something that would put some love and light into their hearts. I Am a King is a story of empowerment, self-love, and a mini tutorial of how we can help our children maneuver through these tough times. All right, buckle up and get ready to hear I Am a King. Amari, go get ready for bed now. It's getting late. Okay, Mom, Amari says as he scoots into the bathroom to brush his teeth. I'm ready for bed now, he yells from down the hall. Be right there, baby. And then I realize that I misspoke. He catches me. Mom, I'm not a baby anymore, he says emphatically. Amari, I want to tell you a story tonight instead of reading one to you, okay? He doesn't sound disappointed. Okay, what's the story about? He asks as I enter his room. Well, Amari, it's a story, but it's not in a storybook. His eyes are wide open. Did you memorize it? Well, sort of. When you hear it, I hope you memorize it too. Now settle in, son. Get comfortable. Here's the story. Touching his face, I admire his long eyelashes and charming face. I take a deep breath before I tell him the story that needs to be told. Amari, did you know that our history did not begin with slavery? But that's not what they taught us in school. Unfortunately, son, sometimes people in positions of power don't want young Black men like you to know the truth. The slaves weren't always slaves, you know. What do you mean? That's not what we learned in history class. My son looks at me with the confusion of a boy turning into a young man. I wish I didn't have to deliver the truth like this, but I know it's the only way he will ever know who he is. I continue. I bet you didn't know that many Africans, our ancestors, were kings and queens of their own great cities, while other Africans lived in the countryside in small villages doing all kinds of great things. Wow, Mom, tell me more. Amari's eyes widen at the mention of kings and queens. He sits up in his bed. He asks, what did they do in Africa? I was happy to explain. The African people greatly enjoyed music, the arts, and fine clothing that was made of the best materials like silk and satin. Africans catalyzed many scientific developments, such as mathematics, engineering, architecture, and medicine. They were doctors, teachers, builders of great structures, musicians, visual artists, and so much more. I didn't know any of this. This is so exciting. What about the kings and queens? Yes, of course. One queen that comes to mind is Queen Aminatu. They called her Amina for short. She was a great military strategist and Hausa warrior who led men into battle. Her mother built the capital of Zazu, the city that was one of the 7 original states of Hausaland, Nigeria, in the 16th century. With a sparkle in his eye, Amari says, she was a warrior that led men? Amazing! Now tell me about the kings. There were many mighty kings. One mighty king that comes to mind is Mansa Musa, the 14th century king of the Mali Empire. He was one of the wealthiest people that ever lived. Not only was he wealthy, but he shared his riches with the less fortunate. What? Yelped Amari. My friends need to know about this, Mom. I am so excited to let them know that we all weren't poor and living in mud huts. That's right, Amari. Just by knowing these things, I want you to begin to understand that you are already a king, simply due to the DNA that flows through your body. I kissed his forehead and remembered something that will bring a smile to his face. How about a warm glass of milk? Yes, please, he says as he fluffs his pillow. And don't forget my favorite mug. I'll be right back, I say, happy that he is so interested. When I return to Amari's room, his expression has changed. His face wears the look of confusion mixed with sadness. Son, what's the matter? I ask, handing him the mug with his favorite coat. Mom, he pauses. Sometimes I get scared. Scared of what? Did someone do something to you at school? There is a long pause. I wait until he gets his thoughts together. Finally, he pulls me closer and says, am I a threat? No, son. Why would you say that? You are the kindest child I have ever known. Who taught you the word threat anyway? I heard it on the news. I hear everything that you were telling me about the kings that came before me, but that's not the feeling I get when I walk down the street. People look at me like I'm about to do something wrong, like I'm going to hurt them or something. Who looks at you like that? Everyone in the neighborhood knows you and loves you. Everyone knows what a good person you are. It's not around here, but places where people don't know me. It makes me feel bad. I take the mug out of his hand and put it on the nightstand. All I can do is hold him tight. I squeeze him hard, hoping he'll always feel my protective arms around him. Mar, I'm so sorry you have been made to feel this way. Why on earth would anyone be afraid of an innocent young man who's as sweet as you? I guess when they see me, they think I'm like... His voice fades. I take his face in my hands. Like what? Amari hesitates and then his voice drops to a whisper. Every time there's a bad guy on the news, he looks like me. I mean, not exactly, but he's black. Son, you are nothing like those bad guys that you see on the news. You are not a threat. Did you know that the first mathematicians and scientists came straight from Africa? You have the blood of these bright minds running through your veins. You are a sweet boy who is surrounded by love. My little king, you have the intelligence of a man like Dr. Percy Julian. Granny always says education is the key. Now I understand what Granny is always talking about. Who's Percy Julian? Amari asks, completely excited by what he just learned. He was a pioneering chemist. And you know what's so cool about him? In 1914, Dr. Julian wasn't even allowed to enter high school. Amari's eyes widen. You know what? Dr. Julian fought back against discrimination and became educated anyway. He even went on to get his doctorate degree, which is the highest degree you can get in most fields. Dr. Julian was one of the first African Americans to get his PhD in chemistry. Really? That's so cool. He must have been brilliant. Yes, he was, just like you are. And don't you forget it. You and Dr. Percy Julian were wonderfully and magically created by God to do great things. It takes an extra strong mind and heart to get past obstacles. Dr. Julian had challenges, just like you feel challenged. Feeling challenged is normal, but you can't let challenges hold you back. I won't, now that I know all of this, he says with a smile lighting up his handsome face. Always keep your head up, son. Anytime you feel afraid and your father and I are not with you, just ask God to hold, guide, and protect you. His eyes are hopeful. Is that all I have to do so that nothing terrible happens to me? Well, that's not all, son. We all have to be accountable for ourselves and our behavior. Even me and your dad have to go by society's rules. Sad to say that the rules can sometimes be a little harsher on us, but we have to abide by them anyway. Shaking his head, he says, what rules do you and dad have to follow? You're grown-ups. You get to do whatever you want, right? Wrong. Grown-ups often have even more rules to follow than children. We go to work, pay our bills, and treat each other as we want to be treated, which, by the way, is called the golden rule. Remember, Amari, in order to get respect, you have to earn respect. What about all the bad things I've been hearing about the police? Aren't the police supposed to protect and not harm us? Just like anything in life, there are good and bad people everywhere. I don't want you to think that all police officers are bad. I know we have good police officers in our family, but I still worry about policemen that we don't know. What should I do if one approaches me? How do we know if it's a good officer or a bad one? I'm afraid that we won't. It all depends on how we react. You just have to remember what Dad and I have always taught you. You must remain calm and keep your composure. No speaking out of turn. Remember to keep your hands where they can see them at all times. Amari, please never make sudden movements. Even if you are frustrated and you know you haven't done anything wrong, don't run. Amari, when you are dealing with an officer who's not so nice, you must remain respectful. If you do that, you will be stronger than the strongest superhero. Remember that too. Yes, Mom, I will. Do other kids have to talk about this stuff with their mothers? This is a lot for a kid to worry about. All I want is to have fun and play with my friends. I know, son, but your goal is to make it home alive. So you must pay close attention to what I'm telling you. Amari, the mere sight of our beautiful chocolate brown skin means something different to everyone. For Black people, our skin means that we all come from the great kings and queens of Africa who were powerful, strong, and intelligent people. For others, they prefer to think that our skin sometimes means that we're violent, uneducated, and a threat to society. I smile at him and look into his eyes. My handsome son, you are none of those things. You are strong, ambitious, intelligent, compassionate, and loving. You are capable of becoming whomever you want to be. Don't let anything or anyone stop you. Thank you, Mom. I feel much better now. Mar, it's getting late. You should go to sleep now. Tomorrow is Saturday, and you know what that means. Suddenly, he says, pancakes. You're absolutely right. I hugged my son with a tight, long hug, meant to make him always feel comfort in the midst of his discomfort. With a final kiss to his forehead, I switch off his nightstand light and turn to go. In the darkness, I feel him grab my hand. Please don't leave. Amari, I will never leave you. Your father and I are always just a room away. Remember, son, we are resilient people. We have gone through a lot and still manage to do things that always exceed expectations. What does resilient mean? It means being able to withstand or recover quickly from difficult conditions. I guess that means I'm resilient too. When some classmates saw me signing up for orchestra, one of them actually said, Black people don't like classical music. Isn't it true that you only listen to hip hop? He hangs his head and says, everyone started laughing at me. And what did you say to those kids? I said, that's not true. Did you know that Joseph Braley, also known as the Black Mozart, was the first classical composer of African descent? He led one of the best orchestras in Europe. Even Mozart was jealous of him. Classical music runs through my veins, and if you don't know, now you know. And walked away. Bravo! I'm proud of you, son. I noticed how you managed to throw a hip hop line in there too, I said with a chuckle. I'll see you in the morning, my little musician. Love you. Nighty-night. Nighty-night. I peeked my head in his room. Good morning, Amari. Wakey, wakey. Good morning. I slept so well because I got up with your pancakes on my mind. Come and get them while they're hot and ready. Dad is on call today, so he had to go to the hospital earlier than usual. He came in and gave you a kiss while you were fast asleep. Cool. I can't wait to tell him about all the things you taught me. As he walks with me to the kitchen, excitedly he says, can we talk more about our history? Sitting at the breakfast table, we both start digging into our pancakes. In between bites, I say, of course, son, what else do you want to know? Granny always talks about Black inventors and their great inventions, like the 3 bulb traffic lights. Are there any more? Many more. Like the improved ironing board, the refrigerated truck, and automatic elevator doors. And you should never forget this one. Just a hint, your favorite snack. We both yell, potato chips. Amari says, our ancestors did all of that? even with all the challenges they face, we are powerful. I can't wait to tell my friend Jake about it. He loves potato chips. You know what? I want all kids to know the truth. I want them to know that Black people are smart, strong, caring, and ambitious. No matter what anyone says, we have to believe it and hold our heads up high. All the stuff you, Daddy, and Granny are teaching me makes me feel renewed and really proud of us. I'm glad to hear that, son. I have learned so much listening to your stories about our history, which leaves me with one last question. With an inquisitive twinkle in his eye, he asks, why were we brought to America in the first place? If Africans were living so well in Africa, and why did they call them slaves? I tell him the truth. The meaning of slave is quite difficult to hear, son. But a slave is a person who is the legal property of another and is forced to obey them. Our African ancestors were enslaved by Europeans. European settlers in North America saw Africans as a cheap way to get the work done that they physically couldn't do. Africans were actually kidnapped and brought to America in 1619. They were enslaved and forced to work for free under horrendous conditions. They produced tobacco and cotton. Our ancestors endured the cruelest treatment and still survived. You wonder why it's not in your history books? Amari looked sad and confused. I lowered my voice and said, this is the heartbreaking part. Why would anyone want to admit that they stole people from their own land, made them work for free, took their language, religion, family, and sold their children? They intentionally tried to destroy us, and we survived anyway. Son, never get caught up with what you see or hear on the news. So many Black people have contributed to what makes America great, despite what has been done to us. You won't find that in most history books either. The writers of American history books would rather leave out our positive contributions because it doesn't fit into their narratives. Boy, we need to keep the determination that our ancestors had, not only to stay alive, but make something great of ourselves, Amari said with his head held high. Precisely. Always draw from their amazing superhero strength whenever you encounter life's challenges. Also, each individual needs to be given a fair chance to prove that they are truly a good friend, neighbor, or associate. They made it, and so can you. They are a part of you. You too will command your own destiny. Isn't that why you named me Amari? Yes, it is. Amari means commander in Swahili, a Bantu language spoken in East Africa. I wanted to give you a name that holds power, the type of power that moves you from the inside out. And you know what? I feel it. I love you and Daddy so much for teaching me who I am. I am a royal child of God, a strong, fearless warrior, a viola player, a lover of anime, a lover of all types of music, a chess player, and a future doctor. I am a king. There you have it. I am a king. I hope you guys enjoyed the reading. I Am a King is available for purchase online at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, and Walmart. Thanks again to Dr. Sheikha and Principal Tammy for having me. I know it might seem like it's a little long, but as parents, you can choose to go at your own pace. You can switch it up One part could be one night for story time, leave them in suspense, then you can use it another night at bedtime during story time. Any way you choose to do it, I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you so much.